we are joined by Senator Rand Paul of Kentucky. Senator Paul, always appreciate you making time for us today.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Government shutdown. So far, I got to say, it's pretty nice walking around the streets of D.C. I know that's a very basic view of things, but government seems to be working reasonably well for a so-called shutdown. What is, as you see it, at issue today? Why have we seen no progress in the Schumer shutdown negotiations?
Well, I think the great irony of this situation is that every Democrat in the Senate and every Democrat virtually in the House as well voted for these spending levels in December of last year. So this continuing resolution has spending levels that were actually set under Biden. These are the Biden spending levels, and every Democrat has previously voted for them. The reason they're not voting for them now, at least according to the Democrats, is, well, we want to renew these temporary Obamacare subsidies. Well, that's moving the goalpost because these people have all voted for the spending bill before, and it doesn't include the Obamacare subsidies, never has. And the reason the Obamacare subsidies are expiring is because that's the law that the Democrats wrote. They wrote them to be temporary because they were trying to cram a lot of spending into a reconciliation bill, and the only way they could do it was to make things temporary. So really, this is all on the Democrats, and eventually they will fold, and they will vote to reopen the government.
Now, why are if you could dig into this a bit, Senator Paul, why are these subsidies for Obamacare both so important to Democrats and so necessary?
Well, the argument with Obamacare when it started, back around 2010 was that it was going to keep healthcare insurance prices from going up and make healthcare more affordable. It turns out if you look at healthcare insurance prices, they've gone up ever since. There's been no slowdown in the increase in healthcare prices. In fact, when you subsidize something, you're increasing the demand for it. You actually are, in all likelihood, increasing the price of things. But no, they haven't been successful. These Obamacare subsidies aren't really going for the poor. They're actually going to relatively rich people now. And like I say, they were brought in by the Democrats during the pandemic. They were said to be, people are having a tough time during the pandemic. We're going to give them extra money. The real problem, though, that nobody discusses around here is there is no money to give these people. I mean, the money literally has to be borrowed from China or printed up by the Federal Reserve. We're $2 trillion short with the current levels of welfare and warfare, frankly, and we're $2 trillion short a year. Where's the money come from? It simply has to be borrowed.
Yeah, well, with gold at, I think, $4,000 an ounce now, I mean, I think people are starting to see that the printing press is very much in use, unfortunately. And I wanted to know if you could also look into or explain to us a little bit, Senator Paul, the argument over whether some of this funding or whatever the portion may be makes it to subsidize care for illegals. You're an MD as well as a senator, so you have a particular insight into this. What is the truth of that?
Well, it's confusing in the sense that we do have many laws that say welfare is not supposed to go to illegal aliens, but we also have laws that say illegal aliens aren't supposed to vote either. And we know for a fact that illegal aliens are. The most recent prominent case of them voting was a guy that was that superintendent from Des Moines who was here in the country illegally and registered to vote and voting in Maryland and had been for some time. So we know that the states, particularly the Democrat states that have very lax rules, California and others, they just don't really police the situation at all. So we do know that people illegally in the country are voting. We also know that they're receiving health care as well. So in legislation that previously passed by Republicans, language was explicitly put in to say it cannot and should not happen. And the Democrats are trying to repeal that language now and try to make it such that states could make the decision to give welfare and, voting privileges to illegal aliens.
Senator Paul, this isn't the first, I think this is the 11th shutdown, right? But this isn't your first rodeo with this. And I think in the past, what has been at least a narrative the media pounds, whether it's really fair or true or not, is, the Republicans are being blamed. This is going to hurt Republicans politically. I'm certainly not seeing that, and I don't think whatever data that can be trusted on this, to the degree it can be trusted, shows that. What is the as you see it, for the Democrats, I'll speak to specifically, if you could speak to maybe on just the Senate side, what is their calculation here? Why have they decided that this is the hill they want to fight on?
I think they've miscalculated. They also, I think the Republicans have not hit them hard enough yet. I mean, the Republicans, I'm about the only one I hear reminding people that the Democrats all voted for these spending levels 9 months ago. They're the exact same spending levels. One reason Republicans don't bring this up is Republicans used to be critical of the Biden spending levels, but now the Republicans are all voting for the spending levels. That's why I'm really the only Republican voting against not only the Democrat spending levels, but voting against the Republican levels, because they incurred a deficit this year of about $2 trillion and are projected to incur a deficit next year of about $2.1 trillion. So I think both parties are terrible on the deficit. I'm voting against both the Republican and the Democrat plan because the one thing that is bipartisan up here is spending money we don't have.
We're going to be at 40 trillion then in this debt really soon. And, you know, Elon Musk came in with Doge, and there seemed to be this moment in time, Senator, where there was at least the beginnings of a willingness to do something about this. It does not look like that has really come to come to fruition. Maybe that's putting it too gently, that we're even trying to turn the spending curve around. Do you think that there will be, I know the White House has spoken about this, some substantial trimming of federal employees that will occur during the shutdown? How does that work?
You know, Doge did a lot of good things. I was a big supporter of Elon Musk and the things he brought to government. We did end up voting on two rescission packages, or one, but then they did one as a pocket rescission, and so about $12 billion in foreign aid was reduced. You know, I've been championing reductions in foreign aid for a decade here, and have introduced over 35 bills to do it. This is the first time we've done it since I'm here. But the problem is the continuing resolution that Republicans have put forward spends at the currently appropriated levels for foreign aid. That doesn't include the $12 billion in cuts. So basically, if they pass the continuing resolution that Republicans want everybody to vote for now, it'll have the foreign aid back in it. And so if you want to get rid of foreign aid again, we will have to do the same thing again next year. So taking away the $12 billion, that didn't become the new baseline. It's not a lower baseline for foreign aid. They're going back to the original one with this continuing resolution. So it's another reason not to be too excited about what the Republicans have put forward, is that we're going to have to start all over again with the things that Doge put forward and the rescission packages. We're going to have to do it again next year.
Do you think there's any realistic scenario where there's a willingness on the Republican side to make what has to happen for real cuts to be made? I mean, I feel like we've been talking about this. You have, I have, a lot of everybody listening now talking about this, going back to the origins of the Tea Party. So this is looking like 15 years of when are we going to make cuts? The debt is too high. The debt is too high. We just discussed that it's going to be at $40 trillion. When do we decide to do something about this, or is it just a waste of discussion at this point because we haven't suffered the economic fallout from our profligate spending, so no one's going to do anything about it?
Well, the lay of the land is this. There are no Democrats that will vote to cut 1 penny of $1 of federal spending. On the Republican side, there's a lot of lip service, but when I presented my penny plan budget, which would balance over 5 years, I did this 2 weeks ago, 36 Republicans supported it. Now, that's the high watermark. That's the most I've gotten before, but it also means that I think about 16 Republicans do not support it. These 16 Republicans often are the leaders of the spending committees, the appropriations committees, and so there isn't a desire among them really to cut spending. And so until we have a Republican majority and a majority of those Republicans are willing to cut, we don't get anywhere. It also doesn't help when people say, well, we're not going to look at Social Security or Medicare and Medicaid. We'll do it sometime in 2 or 3 years from now. We'll make the date in the future. All of these things, when you take them off limits and you don't do anything to food stamps, if you take all of these entitlements off the table, there isn't enough waste and fraud to cut to actually balance the budget.
Well, what do we have to do? I mean, is this turning into the entitlements discussion again, which nobody wants to touch?
It's about elections. You need more hardcore people. I think the people out there, that I meet as I travel the country, they are ready to cut spending. They are ready for more significant cuts, and they're ready for somebody who introduce a balanced budget. So I think if my penny plan budget were surveyed among the public, among the Republican public, I think you'd get 90% of the vote. But up here I'm getting about 60% of the Republicans for it. So really, the Republicans up here aren't all getting the message. They need to get the message that the debt is a real problem and it's time to start cutting spending. But a lot of them haven't got that message yet.
How long do you think this shutdown is going to last? And is it a big deal to you whether it goes for another day or another 2 weeks? Does it really make much difference? How do you see that?
The rumor is that the Democrats have a left-wing socialist rally in D.C. this weekend, and they're afraid of their left wing. They're afraid of the socialists, and so they have to show they're putting up a fight for the free stuff, the Obamacare free subsidies. So the rumor is they will fight through the weekend and then give in next week. They'll give in because there'll be some sort of public promise that we'll negotiate on the subsidies. And frankly, there probably are 15 Republicans that'll vote to increase or keep the Obamacare subsidies. They don't care that it has to be borrowed. They don't care that it's more big government. So what'll happen is all the Democrats will be for that. 15 or 20 Republicans will vote with them, and big government always wins. But I think the public's getting increasingly frustrated with it. So there's going to be a time at which the public is going to say, let's throw some of the bums out.
Why do we need subsidies if Obamacare makes health care cheaper? That seems to be a conundrum, Senator.
Yeah. One of the things we could do, and I've proposed this for years now, I propose that we let consumers, people who buy health insurance, let them bargain collectively. What I mean by that is if you belong to Costco, there are 44 million members of Costco. If Costco were to buy your insurance for you, my guess is Costco can get a better price than you can individually.
If my wife could buy her insurance from Costco, by the way, it would have happened yesterday. She loves Costco, so keep going.
And the rule that's keeping us from doing this is a federal rule that says you can buy insurance with a group, but you all have to be in the same employment. You have to be ditch diggers or carpenters or welders. You can buy your insurance together, but you can't be in multiple different employment, which is a really dumb rule. And last Trump administration, I got him to do an executive order. It was challenged in court, but I have a bill that would do this. It would change what's called the ERISA law, and it would let anybody who wants to join any group buy insurance. And then what you'd have is you'd have the head of Costco's health insurance buying would sit down with the head of the big insurance companies, and you'd really get a much better price. And so that's the one thing you could do that is a market phenomenon. It's a way of injecting the market that actually would bring down healthcare costs.
Senator Rand Paul, always appreciate you, sir. Thanks for making the stop today with us.
Thanks for having me.
There was a time when dinner was more than just a meal. It was the hour every day when family came together. Actually, you know what? I'm going to tell you something right now. There was the Jesuit headmaster of my high school. When my parents did the first parent-teacher day, he sat all the parents together in the auditorium, and he said, you know what one of the most important things you can do with your kids is? Have dinner together. True story. And this is a guy who'd been an educator for like 40 years and very, very smart guy. He said one of the most important things. Now, I know people work, travel, busy, but the point is when you can, you should do it. And Good Ranchers certainly believes in that. Good Ranchers is calling Americans back to the table. From now through Thanksgiving, Good Ranchers is encouraging families to sit down and share a meal every Thursday. It doesn't have to be fancy, just has to be together. And here's the fun part. Every week, one lucky winner will win a free Thanksgiving ham for just sharing a photo of their gathering on their Instagram story and tagging at Good Ranchers and using the hashtag Back to the Table. That's hashtag Back to the Table. So visit goodranchers.com. Use my name, Buck, as your code when you subscribe for an additional $40 off your initial order. Plus free meat for life. You get to pick that free meat gift. It's delicious. Code Buck and $40 off plus free meat for life. It's a great deal. I eat the last meal I made with Carrie last weekend. We had Good Ranchers fillets, and I think it was boned in New York strip, or maybe it was boned in ribeye. I get them both from Good Ranchers. It's all delicious. But I was working my magic on my cast iron with Good Ranchers. It was delicious, and I'm going to be doing it again this weekend. Go to goodranchers.com. Use my name, Buck, as your promo code. $40 off, free meat for life. Check it out today.
Hey, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel.
And be sure to hit that like button.